So Dayanand Saraswati of Arya Samaj. So Bengal Renaissance and Rabindranath Tagore and Bankim Chand Chatterjee write Anand Manth and Manda Bhartam. And uh, educational as tool. Banaras Hindu University and Madan Mohan Malviya give the Banaras Hindu University. Then the geography, so Chota Nagpur Plateau, it is mineral heartland of India, mineral resource base like iron ore, Noimundi, Gua and hematite, coal, Damodar Valley, Jeria, Bokaro, Raniganj, Mika, Koderma, Giridia, electric and electronic products, bauxite and copper, Ranchi and Gumla, uranium, Jgarguda and nuclear energy. Then the role in metrology and manufacturing. So steel industry, Tata Steel, Jamshedpur, SAIL, Bokaro and Rahulkela. Aluminum production in Hindalco and thermal power generation, Damodar Valley compression and employment and urbanization, Jamshedpur, Bokaro and Dhanbad. Then the geological and historical factors. So geological factor are the ancient crystalline rock and structural features, fracture zone and fault line and faulting are there. And historical, so colonial development and British exploitation and post-independent industrialization 5-year plans. Then the plateau was the treasure of House of Minerals. So the major plateau, the Chota Nagpur plateau. So coal, iron, manganese, mica, Jaria coal field and Normandy iron field. Then the Deccan plateau. So bauxite, gold in Kolar goldfield and black cotton soil in Lagar soil in the Deccan Plateau. Then Colorado Plateau, USA have uranium deposit, copper, potash, and have the Grand Canyon. Then the Tibet Plateau, China have lithium, chromite, and Asian water tower. And African Plateau, like the Katanga Plateau, have gold, copper in Congo, and gold in South Africa, with Western Basin. Then the Brazilian Plateau, so iron ore, magnesium, gold. Then the role of mineral-based economy activity. So industrial backbone, steel, electronics, energy, Balco, Egnalco, export-oriented economics, Congo and Brazil, and transition in lithium and uranium. Then Bay of Bengal, Arabian and sea cyclone. So factor favoring Bay of Bengal cyclone. So sea surface temperature, higher average temperature, warm water flux from river Ganga, Brahmaputra and Irrawaddy and stratified layers. Then the uh, atmospheric dynamics. So the weak wind shear and moisture laden wind. Then the post monsoon effect in October and November. So it has the warm influx of river and stratified layer and weak wind shore and moisture laden wind. Then the recent ski cyclone east coast. So the cyclone Amphan in 2020. Then the Indian heritage and culture. So Indian miniature painting, it is the major style miniature painting. The Pala school 8th to 12th century. So Pala school Eastern India in Bihar and Bengal, Buddhist theme, palm leaf manufacturing, manuscript and Parampita manuscript, Pranjna Paramita manuscript. Then Western Indian jail style. So Gujarat and Rajasthan, bold lines, bright color, Jain manuscript, Kalp Sutra, and regional devotion and societal norms. Then the Mughal era, 16th to 18th century, is an integration of Persian and Indian culture. Then the Rajasthani miniature, 17th, 18th century, Kishangarh, Mewar, Marwar school, mythological epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Krishna and Radha themes. Then Pahadi, so the Himachal Pradesh and Jammu Vaishnavite themes, Mughal influence, Kagra style, Ram Sita in forest and relical naturalism. Then the Deccani miniatures, so the Islamic motif, local influence, Quranic illumination and cosmopolitan nature and painting on Golconda rulers. Then the visual history of India and global appreciation by global community and Mathura and Gandhara School of Art, So enriched Buddhist art, blending indigenous spirituality and foreign aesthetics. So the period of this Mathura school is 1st century C. Kushana, Zenith in Gupta, 4th to 6th century BC, Center Mathura, Uttar Pradesh. Material is portrait, red stone, and contribution to Buddha art. So the human representation of Buddha, anthropomorphic, robust, energetic figure, suede head and muscular torso, and Abhay Mudra and Padmasana, and symbol on soul palm, Dharma Chakra, and uh, Triratna. Then the Gandhara school, so it is 1st to 5th century and region northwest India, Kandhar and Peshawar, influence Greco-Roman aesthetic and Buddhist and contribution of this Buddhist art is Hellenistic feature, heavy wavy hair and facial feature. Hellenistic wavy hair and facial feature, and depicting Jatak tells and Buddha life event, artistic realism, bodily detail, depth and emotion, and standing Buddha, Bodhisattva and Greek drapery. Then the Indian society. So, the constitutional mechanism for social equity and harmony. This is addressing social inequalities, maintaining social harmony, and effectiveness and limitation. So, effectiveness on the social equity. So, it he is the ethical and it is the deprived migrant section in the mainstream, and the like should be trick like and affirmative actions, and limitations are the sometimes the bias and no subcategorization. Then comes the general study paper 2. So polity and governance. So state legislative and ratification chamber. So the constitutional provision function of state legislation, evidence of ratification chamber. So overuse of ordinance in Kerala and reduce participation, focus on local issue and disruption and lack of quorum in legislative. So factor continued the decline because there is reduced participation, local issue and disruption and lack of quorum, and when the greed and need and factor contributing measure to regulate. So train the representative and ethical improvements. Then the electoral reform under Government of India Act 1935. So briefing go GOI 1935 electoral reform, expanded political participation and limitation. Limitation is the communal electors power of governor and the governor general and limited franchisee. Then the set stage for constitutional development. Then the right to protest versus right to strike band. So right to protest fundamental right, right to strike band not fundamental right, and judicial pronouncement on band. So the Khameshwar Prasad versus State of BR 1962 and Bharat Kumar versus State of Kerala 1997. So then the international relations. So India expanding maritime engagement in OIOR, significance in Indian Ocean region, initiative maritime India vision 2030, Sagar doctrine, strategic implication. So securing trade route, economic interest, 95% trade by volume, enhancing maritime security surveillance, IFR, IOR, boosting blue economy, sustainable development, Harit Sagar initiative, employment, domestic shipbuilding, Atmanirbhar Bharat Sagar Mala program. Then the alignment with regional security objectives. So the ensuring maritime sovereignty, EEZ INS Vikrant, and it's strengthening naval presence, choke point in Malacca and Hormuz, and strengthening Indo-Pacific partnership, Act East policy, Quad initiative, infrastructure investment. Then comes the concern. So the financial and infrastructural game and Chinese dominance and way forward. So fostering ties with Quad, expanding maritime infrastructure connectivity in Sagarmala, strengthening domestic shipbuilding innovation, addressing environmental sustainability, improving maritime security, IFC and IOR. Then the de-dollarization opportunity and challenge for India. So the concept of de-dollarization drivers de-dollarization. So the geopolitical shift is in action. The Russia or Ukraine war, shift toward multipolarity. China, Russia, India, diversification of foreign reserve, yuan and gold, and digital and regional currency innovation (CBDCs). And then the opportunity for India. So the enhanced sovereignty in the trade, rupee invoicing, RBI 2022 decision, and staging the rupee internalization, and challenge for India are the dependence on dollar for global trade and finance, inadequate infrastructure for rupee internalization, and rise of Chinese yuan, and economic stability concern. Then the step forward for India. So strengthen domestic currency structure, diversify foreign reserve, engage the multilateral cooperation, BRICS, and gradual transition, CBDC. Then the social justice, so public private partnership in social justice, so scheme and initiative, so Manarega, so social justice and economic justice, 100 days, and social justice marginalized group, and Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, so social justice, financial equality, economic justice, saving, credit, DBT, and GEM Trinity. Then the Startup India, social justice, women justice in employment, economic justice, 110 lakh to 1 crore loan. Then the Forest Right Act, so social justice, tribals over land, and economic justice, livelihood and farming. Then the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, social justice, housing, dignity, women empowerment, economic ownership. Then the Ayushman Bharat PMJ, so social justice, healthcare access, reducing disparity, economic justice, health infrastructure, in health insurance up to 5 lakh. Then this economy, so the impact of GST on SMEs, so GST 101 amendment 2016, so ecological economic positive impact, so lower logistic cost, abolishing anti taxes, and the unified market facilitating interstate trade, and strategizing simplify GST, so set higher threshold, simplify filing, and GST help desk, and mix impact, challenge persist, compliance and liquidity. Then comes the science and technology, so strategic significance of technological indigenization, so definition, the development, adoption, and production domestically, and essential for economic sovereignty, and strategic significance for the, so strategical autonomy and national security, so reduce dependency, defense, energy and telecom, and mitigating geopolitical risk. Then the economic sovereignty, so boosting domestic industry, make in India and electronics, and saving on import bill. So this is the telecom indigenization. Then the challenge of telecom indigenization, so R&D investment deficit 0.7% of GDP, skill shortage, AI, semiconductor and biotechnology, dependence on critical import semiconductors. Then comes the potential of nanotechnology in defense. So the defense manipulation at atomic and molecular level, and potential of nanotechnology. So strengthening defense material, armor, lightest bulletproof jacket, enhance surveillance and reconnaissance, nano drone and sensor, vision guided weapon, nano thermatize and improve camouflage and still, nano coating, enhance energy power system, nano engineering batteries. Then the challenge, ethical concern and proliferation risk way forward. So dedicated nanotech center, DRDO, increase budget allocation, promote collaboration and enhance skill development. Then the biodiversity and environment, so importance of forest in India, so ecological significance, So the biodiversity hospital 7% global flora, 6.5% flora, and water regulation mangrove as the coastal buffer. So the biodiversity hospital 7% global flora and 6.5% fauna. Water regulation and mangrove as a coastal buffer. Then the socio-economic development. So livelihood generation, 250 million people, tribal community, Vandhan Vikas Kendra, and Right Forest Right Act. Economic contribution, paper, timber, anti-FP, Tendupatta collection, and ecosystem service, air purification, soil fertility, pollination, and TWB initiative. Then the cultural and spiritual significance. So Scout Group Biodiversity Act, and the challenges are the mangrove decline ISFR 2023, and deforestation, degradation, agriculture, mining, and infrastructure. So then the disaster management. So SDG and Sendai framework intersection. So interlinkage of SDG and so common goal, poverty reduction, resilient and sustainability, integration with urban planning in Japan example. So integrated approach to DRR, socio-economic development. So understanding disaster risk assessment, Bangladesh cyclone preparedness program, mainstream disaster risk reduction into development policy, capacity building, local empowerment, community based program, stringent data technology integration, early warning system, AI, IoT, and GIS. Then the hazard, vulnerability, and risk. So distinct and essential for strategies, interconnected concept and definition. An example are the hazard. So hazard is the potentially damaging physical event, natural hazard, earthquake and flood, anthropogenic hazard, industrial accident, and chemical spill. Then the vulnerability. So the susceptibility to impact. So economic vulnerability, social vulnerability, and economic environmental vulnerability, and risk. So the risk is the livelihood of the loss of damage, and risk probability of hazard into degree of vulnerability. So type of risk management is risk acceptance. Then the interrelation, when example. So hazard interact with vulnerability to become risk, and mitigate by reduction vulnerability and exposure. So cyclone in coastal Odisha, hazard. So hazard into vulnerability is equal to risk. Then comes the uh, so the theoretical question is the eroding non-partnership in public institution. So significance of non-partnership as the reliability, credibility, trustworthiness, and the consequence of eroding the non-partnership, and impact on democratic governance and public trust. And then the observed scientific temper and national development. Then paradox of peace advocacy amidst arm build-up. Then the peace advocate yet increase military spending consequence. So undermining international law, fueling arm race, and erosion of moral authority. Then factor contributing are the perceived security dilemma, India Agni 5 versus China, and technological advancement, power projection, Russia hypersonic missiles. Then the challenge in resolving paradox, so geopolitical rivalries like USA and China, lack of enforcement mechanisms, and economic dependency and defense industries. Then comes the step to resolve the paradox. So the promoting trust through transparency like START and CBMs, and investing in multilateral disarmament framework, and shifting focus in defensive technologies, and the influence of meta ethics question on governance. So meta ethics, the nature of the moral judgment, influence, practice, governance, influence, and governance. So the moral objectivism and realism. So the objectivism, usual self-principle, and like UDHR, and relatives and context specific UCC debate in India. Then the moral cognitivism and non-cognitivism is also there. Then comes the ethical governance in practice. So DM faces dilemma: illegal extraction, threat, and protest. So ethical dilemma faced by DM. So uphill law versus economic distress. So option available to DM. So strict enforcement of law and conditioning reopening under regulation. So the balance and pragmatic approach is the conditional reopening under regulations. Then comes the ethical dilemma: junior college fund case. So junior college need funds for brother treatment. HOD was dictionary fund improperly, and step for senior officer. So assess circumstance and engage with stakeholder and discuss with department head, provide assurance to junior colleagues. Then the stakeholder role and interest embassy evaluation case. So standard Indian community member, women and children, permanent business person, and local government. Then the justice delayed and justice delayed, but justice rushed is justice flawed. So the court, Gellstone and Gandhi, theoretical and philosophical dimension are natural justice principle. So